Okay, guys, today we're going to look at paper 2 and the social principles of physical education for A-level PE. This quick 5-minute revision video will focus particularly on public schools and the role they had in shaping sport and the Oxbridge melting pot. So for the exam, you're going to need to have a good understanding of the 3 stages of the development of sport in public schools. So you have the stage 1, which is generally known as boy culture. Stage 2, which is generally known as the enlightened headmasters, often known as social control stage, and stage 3, which is the rise or the cult of athleticism. So the earliest stage of public schools is called stage 1, when they first emerged. Now, public schools means fee paying, they are private schools. The people who attended these public schools were the sons of gentry, so the boys who were from rich upper class families. They came from all over the UK to attend central locations. So they different villages, different areas those boys were coming to, such as moving to Rugby to go to the school there. And with them, they brought their games that the peasants were playing, and they would observe them playing. Now, the games they were playing tended to be based on the facilities of the school. So Eton developed the wall game because of a big wall that went through Eton, or Eton Fives, which was based around the chapel and the walls and the dimensions of the chapel where they could play these games. Their lifestyle at public schools was in the stage 1 was very uncontrolled. There was very limited supervision, and the boys ended up playing lots of mob games in their free time. As they were boarding school, they had lots of free time on their hands, so they would end up getting themselves into trouble. And the masters really didn't pay much attention to them, especially when they were playing games, and therefore the boys themselves had to be their own referees. This led to a lot of bad behaviour, and we call it a Spartan lifestyle, where they would end up bullying one another, often known as fagging, and behaviour was extremely poor. So generally, when you're referring to stage 1, you're going to be asked about characteristics of what was going on in stage 1 and the types of games that are playing. So the first elements you talk about is the gentry hooligans. You will talk about the limited supervision and the activities they got themselves involved with, and the impact of the schoolmasters and how they didn't respond well to them. I'll leave this on the screen, or you can pause the video and read through the extra notes to make it easier for yourselves. So stage 2 was a period of reform where Dr. Thomas Arnold came into Rugby School and aimed to improve behaviour. And he saw the sport that they were playing, the games that they were playing, the mob games that they were playing, as a tool to improve behaviour, which is where he called what we called it social control, where we're channeling their behaviour, their energies into something more socially acceptable, such as sport or the games, and therefore less likely to behave badly outside of the school. He tapped into the elements of the games that would make them more civilized, the loyalties, the teamwork, the communication, and the leadership skills that you develop in these games. So he introduced games afternoons. He put sixth formers at the heart of organising these, and ended up developing inter-house competitions. The games at the schools were developed, which were then taken on by other schools, and the social control, the reform of sport occurred. So stage 3 is where the sport and games continue moving on, and the boys would leave the school and go to university. We call it Oxbridge, where we go Cambridge and Oxford put together, it comes at Oxbridge. And a lot of the boys went to those universities taking their games, and it became another melting pot. So they put all their games from the different schools into one pot, and they came up with an agreed set of rules and agreed games, which is where we ended up with Cambridge developing what we know as association football. We call it rationalising sport, where sport has an agreed set of rules that then resemble one game. Now, these are written down, the rules are written down and codified from that position. Now, as the boys left their universities, they took up roles in society where they would then spread the sport that they just developed and learned. Some became working in schools or shared their sports in schools. Some became working in industry. Some joined the colonies and they spread their sports. We call them old boys or blues, the boys who left those universities and took the games with them. And in schools, they developed these games afternoons, which were adopted by many, many public schools. The final aspect you may be asked on, and it could be asked as a separate question, or it could be asked as part of it, is stage 3, is the Clarendon Report, which is generally like our modern day Ofsted, where an inspecting team went in, as the Earl of Clarendon went in and looked at the public school education and identified that sport and games were developing character in the school. The boys, they were developing leadership, loyalty, and teamwork. We also know this as the rise of athleticism, where the skills were very much based around muscular Christianity and developing elements like physical endeavor, manliness, moral integrity, and so on. That means the other schools were taking this Clarendon Report and seeing what was happening and adopting it, and we have the rise of athleticism and muscular Christianity. Muscular Christianity being having a healthy mind or a strong mind and a strong body. So I hope you have a better understanding of public schools and the role of Oxbridge, and good luck on this exam questions if they come up.